Good afternoon, aliens. This is Leprechaun Alley. My name is Carrie,
I am Michael Perillo.
and Michael is joining us today. We had a few different topics. We're going to go back to Vedic astrology later on. I have someone that I would actually like to speak with who's really knowledgeable historically while we're having conversations looking at the charts. So I kind of put that in the back burner for a little bit, and we're just having regular conversation. We are here to take live astrology requests. Just give us your birthday and year, and we will provide an astrology reading for you on demand. In the meantime, we're just having random coffee talk. I had a few things that were going through my mind, and Michael was the perfect person to bring along for that ride. So, I was actually watching this interview. It was so interesting. Oh, hi, Liz. Oh, thank you so much for coming. Sorry we're a little late. So, I was actually watching, it was an interview with Joe Rogan. Well, Joe Rogan was interviewing Brett Weinstein and Jordan Peterson. And I was listening to their conversation. I thought it was very interesting. I noticed something interesting about the way that he was organizing his information and structuring his argument. And as he spoke, because he doesn't particularly make eye contact with people. So as he spoke, I felt like I was listening to somebody who was checking off a list, like a philosophical list, like with every single point that he made, that kind of felt like a ladder. And I said, "Oh, what is a ladder? What's another way to look at a ladder?" Well, Saturn. Saturn is also indicative of the bones, the spine, the teeth, all of those things. And so I just had this impression when he was speaking that that's each philosophical point that he was making, he had to construct it like a ladder. And I also thought he had pieces that were just so brilliant and stellar and outstanding. And then other pieces that in his argument, other approaches or certain characterizations of his topic that I felt were a little fixed and kind of underdeveloped. Like that piece is still working for him. So he hasn't changed it yet. And I said, you know what? I'm going to look him up again because I always thought that he was, or what I'd read about him before is that his birthday is in June of 1960. And I was under the impression that he was a Gemini, year of the metal rat. But I was thinking also about how he has, because he doesn't make direct eye contact, and because he sort of like speaks to the air when he's sharing, and like he's a very, very, what was it, what we were trying to say, he's very what we're thinking about with Saturn, he's very, because he's fixed, and we haven't revealed that yet, but because he's fixed, he's very,
Well, there's a lot of things that can be said
no,
about
no, I meant in terms of how he couches his language, very structured. His speech is very structured.
Well, there's hesitation in his
Yes,
voice
and there's hesitation, right?
because he's trying to validate what's coming out of his mouth.
Right. And
he's not sure of it, so he'd rather not speak, but he's put in a position where he must speak. So he's sort of like having a tug of war with himself.
So I looked him up. Oh, and the other thing, the other clue, this is the thing, is, a couple years ago, he was diagnosed, he had some severe kind of psychological break, and he actually ended up going to Russia to treat that, some type of anxiety disorder, and it was, and I always also had this, kind of impression of Jordan Peterson that he just keeps going and going and going until he just crashed and ran out of steam. And I was thinking to myself, this doesn't really seem like something a rat would do. Some of these things don't really typify like year of the rat behavior. They're much more playful, they're mouthy, they're bossy, or they're a little rude, but they can be very refined as well. So I looked him up, and lo and behold, it's still June, and but the year that he was born was 1962, which is year of the tiger, year of the water tiger.
This is the water tiger.
And and immediately I went, aha, because what was also playing in my mind was when Michael said, if tigers end up with psychological disorders, oftentimes they're the last ones to know.
This, by the way, happens to be a vicious type of tiger, the water tiger.
Or yeah, a difficult year for them.
Well, water is considered can be an extreme for any sign. It
Yeah,
has a
that's
very
true.
positive side and a very
Water is
tempestuous
extreme.
side.
Mm.
And the tiger, when it gets into that negative side, it's very vicious. Give you an example: Jordan Belfort, The Wolf of Wall Street,
Oh, that's right.
born in
He's sharing
19
his year with Jordan
June.
Peterson.
He was
Go
born,
figure. Oh my God.
yeah, he was born, I think, June 16th, 1962. I know he was born in 62. I worked for him for almost close to 5 years.
Oh, Jordan Belfort's a Gemini too?
No, he's a Cancer, but it's that
Oh,
water
July
tiger.
16th, you meant, yeah. You said June 16th.
Oh no,
that's it.
July 16th.
July 16th, okay.
But it's that element of tiger with water, and I thought I'd bring him up because was not a bad person. It was nice to get along with. I got along with him, but
Yeah,
some of the
tigers are
things that
always
he
fun.
did, the things that he did to old people, to exploit them, use them, and his salesmen he didn't like, and they were leaving him because they were grudge matches. He would have people go out and beat up the other guy, the salesman. So he was a kind of a megalomaniac.
Megalomaniac?
Megalomaniac, yeah. Saw himself as the supreme. They're vicious when they're negative. They're very vicious. When they're positive, water is very comforting because it bathes you and it embraces you and all of that. So what you see in this fellow Jordan Peterson is that hesitation to be himself.
Yes.
Because the tiger likes to be alone and likes to hide away from all things. Their attitude is that if they're not seen, they can't be blamed for anything. They don't trust. No matter how much and who you are, you can prove yourself to be a saint. The tiger still will not trust you. It will not trust its own children, certainly not its spouse or their parents. And the reason is because the position of where the tiger resides at the 11th sign, 11th house, which is for gains. But in gains, there's always the fear of losses. And so we have this fear of loss, which is what starts off the problem of distrust. And the tiger will always feel that if they mingle outside into the public, that there's some cost to them. They're overly sensitive over this idea of cost, even though the cost may be nothing. It's basically a problem in their heads. Now, Jordan Peterson is a Gemini, and Gemini is an air sign, just like the year of the tiger. The year of the tiger corresponds to Aquarius, which is an air sign. And what does this mean? Well, it means that their focus is going to be on communication of some kind or another. But the problem is that Gemini is uncertain and is an investigatory type of animal. Aquarius is more like, it can also investigate, but in a very different way. They investigate within themselves. They
Yes.
become the beginning and the end of an answer or a question. Whereas the Gemini side of it wants to mingle with others, but it doesn't want to get into the very deep mingling. So he's a little frustrated because he has interest in what's going on all around him, but he's resisting the ability to gather that information and feel comfortable. So we get this kind of position where he appears to be hesitating to do the very thing that he's there to do.
Yes.
And yet he does a good job at what he does.
Right. Yes, he makes just really beautiful points. He's brilliant.
But you can tell that he's has stress going on when he's talking.
Yeah.
There's always some stress, and that I think is the inner dynamics of fighting with himself. And one side of him is curious, that's the Gemini mind. But the heart wants to lay back and do nothing because it's safer not to
Right.
disturb things. If you leave things alone, then everything is fine, and that's how the tiger looks at everything. When it has to go out and broadcast its point of view, it feels very neutered and out in the open with
Yeah,
nothing on.
exposed. That's what it is. They feel
Exposed with
exposed. Right.
no clothing on.
Right.
He's certainly not the king that with his clothes, the one that they
He's not
kept
the
saying.
lion. It's not the Leo.
Although the king that they say this is good and this is nice and this is nice and he had nothing on.
Oh, the emperor. The emperor's new clothes. Yeah, the emperor has no clothes.
Well, he feels that way when he's out in public, but he doesn't see himself clothed. But when he's inside doing nothing, he's like the emperor with no clothes. Everything is fine.
Right. he's
just one beautiful animal.
And it does make sense for things to orient in this way because of course you're at the 11th sign and the next sign is Pisces. So you're building structure, and it's still a very mechanical way to obtain and procure information and organize information, still very deliberate. And then bam, you hit Pisces and you surrender.
Well, let's keep in mind that Aquarius, when we say it is the house of gains, the gain would come from the ability for the tiger to remain affixed on an idea and to ride with it for a long time until the one sees the light, one gets the goal. So they have the staying power.
Yes.
And they have the mental capacity to understand what they're doing and how they're doing it, but they keep everything on the wraps, like as if nobody else can see what they're doing.
Right.
It's like watching somebody going through the motions, let's say breaking into a safe, and everybody's watching, and they think that they're fine, and no one knows, but everybody can see him, and they can tell what he's doing. So what you have is somebody who's smart but annoying to listen to.
Yes.
And the reason he's annoying is because you get that feeling that he has to overcome inertia in order to speak. It's like he's just got freed from jail or something, and he's kind of a little bit put out.
I have a similar problem myself.
Well, part of the problem is that he's intelligent, but the other problem is that he can't handle his own intelligence.
That's true.
And and the reason he can't is because he has that doubt that's underlying in everything he does. He's kind of struggling with the doubt. His heart self is not really comfortable.
Right.
Where his head self seems to work out pretty good.
And he is a controversial figure, which I still don't understand because I don't find him to be particularly controversial, but he's sort of a role model or somebody to look up to, maybe for younger men who are searching for a sense of value. Jeff! Oh, it's my cousin Jeff. Welcome. Oh my God. It's so awesome that you're here. So So we were talking about Jordan Peterson, and you probably know who he is. I'm so excited. So Jordan Peterson is a controversial figure, which I don't really understand why, because again,
Well,
he's what he's a I mean, I know why. In the yeah, I don't know, in the atmosphere in society, or in the what media. Mhm. Oh, that's right. So, oh yes, Liz just said yeah, because you know that I don't know who he is. Anyway, so he's like, they've called him right wing and things like that, which he's far from. The whole thing is very strange. But what he does kind of sound like or talk like is what I think that white liberal men sound like, only they just have been in their bubble for so long that they know enough not to say it. And Jordan Peterson is just doesn't know enough to be more.
well, one of the obstacles I think
He doesn't
he's
know how to hide that, because he's being authentic and sincere and scholastic in what he's saying.
one of the obstacles.
And he still believes in socialized medicine. So, and
He's
they're
not
calling him right wing. So it's bizarre to me.
he's not comfortable with himself,
Right.
and that comes through the way he speaks.
Maybe that's why they consider him right wing,
And
because
one of the things he does to
they're not comfortable with themselves.
to subdue this look of uncertainty is that
Yes.
he talks continuously. He doesn't let you breathe because he's worried that there might be something missing to his conversation. So he keeps talking to make up for the conversation that just preceded the one he's doing now. And that's really more of a I'd like to call it a defense mechanism, but I think it's a crutch that he has developed.
Hmm.
That talking a lot kind of shelters him from the idea that he doesn't really know the whole story.
Right. Well, I think also, to begin with, he's Canadian. And so he's a little bit sheltered in that capacity. They're just,
Well, no, the Canadians are
they're just
very
not
sheltered.
nearly as cynical as
The Canadians.
the US.
The Canadians behave the way we see them, as a country up there, wrapped up, that we don't know what they're doing. We don't care what they're doing. We barely know that they exist. And unless you see a Canadian, you don't believe that there is any Canada.
They still say supper, so the Midwesterners can appreciate that.
So the Canadians have that kind of reticent quality about them.
Right.
And then in part, it makes them sometimes better communicators. A lot of good musicians have come out of Canada. So you see that ability to restrain gives them that edge that is able to, they can make more sense out of what they do than the American at large. Americans at large are busy just doing things. They don't really stop to think about it. After they crash a few hundred times into the wall, they start thinking maybe there's another way. So Americans tend to be more of this shoot first and ask later.
And that's more of the monkey. You know what would be good is to look up the year that Canada.
I don't know what Canada was
I
founded.
know it's so bad. I should know. I wonder if Jeff knows off the top of his head. He's kind of nerdy like that. There's little things like that Jeff sometimes knows. He has filed away somewhere. Good drinking conversation. Let me look. Let's see. And I want to see if I can. Oh, don't do that. Good. Oh, good. Okay, so I have that. So here. Okay. July 1st, 1867. So Canada's a Cancer too. That's very interesting. And then got to figure 1867. So the easiest way to figure out, by the way, not oh, you weren't even close. Jeff is like, no, I don't know. uh, July 1st, 1867. So if we add 120 to that,
It's 1987.
1987.
So it's a cat.
Oh, so how interesting. That's a Cancer year of the fire cat. So they're both fire years, though.
Mhm.
But Canada's interesting, right? Canada, even though it's freezing up there, is actually more warm.
There, believe it or not, Canada's not that cold. I was up there in the winter
Well, yeah, it depends on
for
where
a
you are,
program,
right?
and I was looking at a lake, and this was, December, January. We drove on this road that was supposedly 6 to 8 feet high of snow. It was a road made of snow. We ended up going into some area where there was a lake, and you could go out there without your shirt on, and you could see the lake. But they said there was, I forgot the term they said, but it meant that it's getting ready to create ice. And so you'd see the fog rising up out of the water, which I've never seen here in Long Island. But there, because they're much higher,
Yeah, you see stuff like that.
believe it
where
or
I'm from,
not,
too.
they actually have 1 hour of more daylight than we do, because Canada is very, very high geographically, much higher than the United States. So the sunlight gets to the area more for a longer time, because it sees the sun longer. It's sticking out further into space.
Well, I think it's interesting how everybody kind of thinks Canadians are nice people, because it kind of makes sense now.
They are.
Yeah, the fire cat's gonna stroke you the right way, and that's the happy cat on top
But I
of
can
it.
see the cat where you'll talk to them, and then all of a sudden there's a little spat in there.
Right, they gotta take a dig at you.
They got to put a dig in there, and they're almost remind me of the Irish, where they can't help themselves.
Right, like, well, here's
Something has to come out of their mouths.
Right, here's another thing, for example, like, the fire cat, right? Cats like to be in charge at home, they wanna dominate. And we do have a little issue with Justin Trudeau really kinda going overboard a little bit with some of the
I wonder
restrictions
if
in
Ireland
Canada.
I wonder if
So that would also be cat behavior. Ireland?
Yeah, I'm wondering if Ireland is not under the cat.
Well, I
Where
was
they
gonna
have to have
say
their morning spats. They always have to have the morning
a morning
spats.
spat, that's a
And
now
then
that's a good one to
and
look
everything,
up.
and then everything is over after they have their little spats.
So let's look up Ireland. I was gonna say, or what was I gonna ask you? I was gonna ask you something else too about I was noting also that they are the happy cat. However, the US, the natural element of the monkey is metal,
It's
but
not
it's
the
in a
happy.
fire
It's
year.
not a happy
No, it
monkey.
overwhelms itself. So, of course, this is what we have all this churning going
Well,
on all the time.
overboard.
Right, it's
Whenever
always
you have
overwhelming itself. That's the
the
context.
year is boasting. We're boasting ourselves out. Uh,
We may need a different birthday.
Our hidden intentions are your year for the country.
Ah, our hidden intentions are the
Would be
year,
the hidden intentions, the things that are going underlying forces.
and it's all out there for
That's going
everyone
to
to
be the
see.
monkey, the manipulators underneath, and that's what the way they are. That's the way this country behaves.
Right, everything's stirring, churning, gotta entertain
And they
itself.
manipulate everything.
Well, let's see. Let's see. Let's find Ireland's birthday.
I don't know if they really know that.
Okay. So it actually, this version of Ireland came to be December 6th, 1922. So actually, Ireland. Well, that would make sense too. The morning spats, a Sagittarius dog. So
Yeah, dogs, they have to bark at each other.
right,
in
to
the
get
morning. Yeah, it doesn't mean anything.
and the
Well,
Sagittarius on top of it.
That's where the Italians are the same thing. What they yell at each other and doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, that's funny.
I'm going to kill you. I'm going to shoot you. This is the Italians arguing with each other. They're going to shoot each other. They're going to kill each other. 2 hours later, they're down in the tavern. They're playing cards.
Yeah.
This is your Italian anger. It doesn't go anywhere. It's a lot of noise. It's a lot of, let's put it this way, controlled passion.
Control passion.
Yeah, that would be the Italians. Whereas the Spanish is in your face passion. To go for the Spaniards.
Right.
in your face kind of pride.
Oh, and so what would you say expresses the controlled passion of Italy then? What are you going with in terms of
Because, well, Italy was founded in 1864, it was put together by Garibaldi and the Red Shirts. They unified all of Italy in the year of the wood rat. And so rats like to farm. They rule over plants, and the Italians was certainly the breadbasket of Europe for many hundreds of years. They produced for most of Europe. Then Italy became a republic, where it became known as, I guess, a country. In 1946, my year,
Oh, okay. Okay.
accepted my. I was born in March, and Italy became a republic June 1st, 1946.
Oh, so it's a Gemini dog now.
So now it's a Gemini dog in
Bad
terms
head,
of
good heart.
in terms of their hearts. So
Yep.
what do you see? The Italians yelling and barking at each other like two wild dogs, and then they get over it and they join the pack, and they go down to the pack down at the tavern and they play cards. After they just got done threatening each other to kill each other, or kill each other's mother, children, you name it. But nothing
Oh, yes, and
happened.
for entertainment purposes only.
Yeah.
Have to just make the qualifier.
But the big thing is food, and that's the rat.
Right.
You see the overlay of the rat. I wonder if the dog wouldn't be their ascendant and the rat being their substance, what they're made of, because
Well,
it was
yeah.
founded in
So
year of the
Ireland,
rat.
right? Ireland is also Year of the Dog, only they're a water dog, and they're also known for their hospitality.
Right, right, right. And they have to spat a little bit like two
Right.
dogs where they kind of like charge at each other and they show their teeth. And
Well, it's funny when we were watching Leap Year, the oh god, who are the two actresses or the two actors that were
I can't remember his name, but she was
Amy
Amy, and it starts with an A. Amy Adams.
Amy Adams.
See, I remember that.
And she's a Leo, Year of the Tiger, 1974.
Right.
And I can't remember his name, but we know he's an Aries. He was born Year of the Horse, 1978.
Well, that was a perfect match, those two.
Yeah, and so when they went and they stayed in I don't know, a bed and breakfast together, they had to pretend like they were married because
because the people that own the place wouldn't
the dog has to be righteous.
Yeah, the people who own the bread and breakfast would not allow unmarried couple
Yes.
to be in bed together. But that was just part of the story, to make these two sleep in the same
Right.
in the same room.
It was grooming.
Right. But the interaction between the two is perfect for an Aries and a Leo, because these two, if they love each other, they can't stop loving each other. It's the Leo cannot complain that the Aries is boring. He may appear boring because he doesn't demand a lot, but he's not boring because he's always prepared to do anything and everything. And he's pretty much straightforward. He'll speak his mind. You'll never be living with an Aries and not know what they're thinking or what their feelings are. And if you don't know, just ask them and they'll tell you. They won't make a long story out of it, but they'll tell you.
That's true. Oh shoot, that's not what I meant to do. So, and I guess I was kind of. Do you guys have any requests or any birthdays that you want me to read for? I don't. If you don't, that's fine. We'll just keep having coffee talk. But you're free to ask about anyone that you would like.
Well, maybe we can revisit the Amber Heard and
You want to be? Oh, okay.
Johnny Depp. What I heard is that there's some attempt to restore Amber Heard's reputation because she can't get any work done.
Right. Oh.
But I'm not sure who the players are that are trying to restore it. I'm sure it's not on Johnny Depp's side. We don't hear anything about what Johnny Depp is doing.
Amber Heard is a Taurus Tiger 1986, and Johnny Depp is a Gemini Cat 1963.
Yeah, we have Johnny Depp born in a water year, Amber Heard born in a fire year. The fire made a mistake to attack water. That was not too smart. I'm born in a fire year, and I do not. I've had some spouts with water years, but I've learned one thing: I will always lose against water because my nature is compelled by the quality of fire, which is to be in your face, as brutally honest as possible. If they're going to lie, they're going to be brutal liars.
Oh, Liz actually is asking about a Scorpio water rabbit.
Water rabbit, you mean the cat or rabbit?
Yeah, cat or rabbit. Yeah.
Scorpio, water rabbit, water
Right.
cat.
It's and we use cat, but the glyphs are the same. We just use cat.
China uses the same
we're used to
drawing, to describe both animals. And I think we've mentioned it before. We might as well mention it really quick now. The glyph, meaning the way they describe and depict an animal, is the way they speak. That's the language. They don't have real writing. It's all drawings, basically. They could be straight lines, they could be boxes, there's all kinds of things. So the Chinese describe both the rabbit and the cat with the same glyph because they consider the two animals to have many, many similarities. Just to give you a few real quick, so that if you might be familiar with it from experience, if you look at a cat in the lawn sitting there, and you were to look at a rabbit in the lawn sitting there, you would not know which animal you were looking at unless you looked at it for a long time, and then you would realize that the rabbit has ears that usually stand up, but not all rabbits do. And the cats basically have smaller ears, but they're always pointed up. And you don't really find the cat with the weeping ears. However, still, they sit in the lawn the same way. When they move from their position, they start with a small hop. The two animals are identical that way. If you were to lift up,
the back legs.
if you were to lift up both of these animals, they would do the identical thing. First thing is, if you're holding a cat or a rabbit, they're nervous and they're worried and they're afraid. The only way they get over that is that you embrace them very tightly so that they feel secure. They're not going to jump out of your arms, but they know they can if they want. But the fact is, they feel secure in your hands because they don't trust you to drop them. So they become calm only if you hold them tight. If they're struggling, that they want to get away from you, both animals will start with kicking with their hind legs, and they're kicking your arm that's holding them in towards your body. So they'll start kicking and rubbing, and both animals will do that. The difference between them is that one has claws, the other one doesn't. One will scratch, the other one will claw. The second thing that when you hold these animals is, aside from holding them tight, what was I going to say about the?
Aside from holding them tight, like if they're trying to get away from you, they'll kick you with their feet. I mean, it's not really important. Mostly the meaning is
or
important.
both of them. Well, I'm trying to show that there's
Yeah,
a similarity.
Mhm.
Or both animals will turn to your side, to the side of your arm, and take a nip at you.
Right.
The rabbit will do it, and so will the cat in the same way. Another thing that's very similar about these two animals: the males are certain to kill their young when they're born. In the case of the cat, she will hide the place where she has her kittens, usually away from the male. The rabbit, unfortunately, is a domestic animal. He's stuck in a coop, and the rabbit will do everything they can to shelter their little young ones from the male. The male will constantly go there trying to grab one of the males and then to take it away and kill it. So this is something that's very common between the cat and the rabbit. And of course, the other quality about them is they both like to be in a kind of like hidden area. They like to be apart. They don't like to be found. They're both very shy. So we see similarities. That is why China interchanges the two animals as having a similar nature.
No, that's just for you.
What does this mean?
So what does it mean? What does it, the
Ouch.
Scorpio
What's
water
this?
cat, what does it mean? The meaning. Let's get to the meaning of Scorpio water cat. That's what I'm,
Oh, the Scorpio water cat. Oh, okay.
or water rabbit, yes. Same
So
here
we,
as giant
so we
dove.
have in the mind, we have the pig, who's tough and strong, and no one can possibly meet his challenge. He is an undisputed powerhouse. But the cat is almost the complete opposite. They're kind of afraid. They're not sure of their environment. They have to test it for a long time. They have to dominate the environment by knowing the environment. So he's going to be a little bit more latent than other Scorpios. He's going to be a little bit more, let's say, try to be more politically correct. Try to address the other party with an understanding of what the human values are, because it's the cat is the month of Pisces. So we have somebody who's going to be very conscious of what the underlying currents are between people, since the cat is one of the signs that
How they relate to people is important.
right, and it's one of the signs that want peace rather than
Yes.
war.
Mm.
So cats are peaceful, but if they make any noise, it's not for a long time. They don't appear to be dangerous until you attack them. And then the claws will come out,
Yeah.
and they bite, and they are very
Mhm.
vicious. They're small, but they're vicious. But generally speaking, they're easy to get along with. They're kind, they're gentle. So what would I say about the Scorpio? A little vicey. He's got vices that linger with him, because the cat can be very complicated in some ways.
Yeah, indulgent.
And the pig is the indulgent one.
Yeah.
He does things because this is what he wants, and this is how much he'll take as much of
Well, the
that.
cat wants the very best,
Well,
and then the pig is indulgent.
what I see
Yeah.
here is a prissy Scorpio, a Scorpio who's not as fierce appearing. Will accommodate you in the beginning, but don't expect that comfort all the time.
Right. I actually also think I know like 3 people with this combination in the course of my life that are actually police officers, but very nice police officers,
Because the cat yields to the Scorpio
like kid
nature.
lovers, and yeah.
Yeah, you'll find in the police force many people born in the year of the snake, in the year of the pig.
Mm.
Those two are the most common. But anyone who has a strong astrological chart with either Scorpio or Taurus in their strong chart will probably yield or tend to become policemen, because police is about force, and snakes use force, as we know. The one that wraps around you, it says
Python or the anaconda?
the anaconda. Yeah, it's almost impossible to get away from their force. Their strength.
Right. You have to kill them.
And pigs, we look at the wild ones in Australia, they destroy vehicles. That is how strong they are and how powerful they are. They hit vehicles and damage them until the people that are inside the vehicles cannot stay in there because their doors are broken open, and then they'll kill the people as well.
But this should typically be like a sweet-natured person.
Well, everything has its opposite.
Mhm.
The Scorpio cat's going to be much, as I said, more politically correct. They're going to be, everything's going to be, let's put it this way, cordial and comfortable. They'll accommodate. The pig will measure everything it does.
Mm.
The cat will do it as long as it pleases them. But as soon as it doesn't please them, they're gone.
Yeah.
But by and large, I would say this individual should be easy to get along with. There should be a sensitivity quality about him. The problem is that if he is lazy, it's going to be extreme laziness, because you have the pig who's lazy is an unusual one, but the cat can be extremely lazy. Um, because what do cats do for most of the day? Whether they're lions or cheetahs or
Right, they sleep.
bobcats or domestic cats, they sleep all day. Unlike other animals like rats that are constantly hunting, squirrels are constantly hunting,
Well, I think we're coming
chipmunks
on,
are
yeah,
constantly hunting.
but he's also coming on to his 60th birthday. He's in his second Saturn return, by the way.
What do you mean by that?
Well, in 2023, he'll be 60.
Okay,
That'll
so
be a second Saturn return. So if he's lazy, it's okay to, start laying back a little bit
well,
at that point.
I said if, I didn't
Right.
say he was.
Right, right. But I'm saying that would be a good, it's not, it wouldn't, at his age also wouldn't be inappropriate for that to be the case. Unless he's
Well,
selfish.
there are cats that are hardworking,
Oh, yeah.
but they tend to be overdrive. And
Yes.
any sign that prefers laziness that works will work overdrive. In other words, they'll
Right.
do everything to overcome their laziness
Yeah, that's me
and
too. I'm like that.
overwork.
Mhm.
And that happens to a lot of
Yeah.
different people. So the signs can only dictate a certain amount of your behavior. Other parts are dependent on your personal experience and your personal interpretation of the world. This is the part that cannot be measured by any astrologer. I don't care if they're Vedic astrologers, if they're Mayan astrologers, or if they're um, uh, Roman Greek astrologers. You will not be able to guesstimate how an individual will choose, because that choice is from free will. So we can only surmise certain tendencies that color the individuals. By knowing those tendencies, you can be much more um, accepting and engaging the other person without fear that the other person might be doing something strange to diss you, or not get involved with you for some reason or another
Yeah,
that's unknown.
it's like a little compass in terms of, okay, how do I
Right,
listen to the
right.
animal that is talking to
Yeah,
me?
once you know the astrological nature, you can pick up some of the things that are going to repeat in that individual.
Right, just like what happened with Jordan Peterson when I thought he was a rat, and I was going down this whole pathway, because this is what happens too when you're in astrology. You're like, well, I can see that, and those things would be true because rats can be brilliant and engaging and high-minded, like what am I trying to think of? Like, refined. That's
Well, one of the things that
and
we could
polished.
say about Liz's request,
Yes.
Scorpio Piscean,
Yeah.
the
Cat corresponds to Pisces.
the
Yeah.
cat Scorpio should be pretty intelligent. This combination,
Right.
very intelligent. Um, they are very
Interesting and philosophical.
and very versatile for a Scorpio.
Yeah.
This is the type of Scorpio that can entertain other qualities of life, that they're not stuck in the mud. The Piscean is going to act according to how they feel and how other people have treated them.
That's true.
So they're somewhat impressionable. They're vulnerable. So there's a certain vulnerability in your Scorpio friend because he's a cat. But as a cat, he can also be extremely tough, knowing knowledge and knowing behavior. He can be extremely tough in
Also, I wanted to
close,
say musically inclined.
yeah,
And very likely musically inclined or poetically inclined.
yeah, in a close relationship, especially in the home environment, the cat can be overdone. They can be, what would you call them? Domineering in the home world.
Yeah.
So, depending on the Scorpio, if he is the domineering type of cat, he can be unbearable. But if he is not the domineering cat, then because of the Scorpio nature to be true to their purpose, as they are a fixed sign and they stay on board in whatever direction they were going. So you can count on them. There's something about him that is, even though it's impressionable and he's uh, very, see, he can be difficult to understand completely because cats do things when they feel like it, when they want, without a reason to accommodate the action. So they want to have that independence. But because he's a Scorpio, there'll be more continuity. So the gentility about him will be more of an inner person. His inner person is gentle. But when he's thinking and talking, well, at worst he can be rude or crude or
Yeah, you might get an alley cat. You
yeah.
could get an alley cat.
But generally speaking, Scorpio wants to be sort of royal in some ways. They want to
Regal,
yeah,
honorable,
they want to show that they are accomplished and that they represent
decorum. They have decorum.
and that they represent the true meaning of laws.
Oh, that yeah. I kind of get like a cat in the hat image of like maybe there could be like another Dr. Seuss book with that
Well,
story.
the cat's very intelligent. You have
Yeah.
Einstein in that picture. You have oh gosh, I can't even start thinking about all the cats, but it's
Versatile, talented.
yeah, it's a very interesting combination because I would see some creativity here in this person, a lot of creativity probably.
Yeah, I was thinking. I said, yeah, I think maybe musically
It
inclined.
could be artistic, yeah, very artistic. Definitely, definitely. The combination of Scorpio and Pisces. Well, this combination is make love, not war.
Yes. So we're getting toward the top of the hour. I just had one more little philosophical tidbit. I think if I can pull it back up again. That oh,
254.
I see if I see, hopefully I can form. Yeah, I got it. Hopefully I can form my point quickly because it's just a philosophical conversation. Something I was realizing the other day. You know, I Michael and I have both studied several languages, and we've had many philosophical discussions. Oh, there's something coming at my eye. Philosophical discussions about different teachings, different writings, different concepts,
Mhm.
and I've come to realize, or and then I think about law, and law has its own format, and law has its own language, at least the way that it's written in the United States. And you have specific argumentative structures. What is this called? Like debate structures, the argumentative types. What is this? Logics?
Well, so the forum that you take, it's academic exercise.
Right. So
I'm not sure where you're going.
that's
with
okay.
this.
I thought I could come up with it, but so that's what I'm saying. I was hoping I can put this together. So, but what I've been realizing with everything I've been researching, and that includes also different forms of astrology, even listening to astrologers, it's none of those things exist or mean anything independent of themselves. Even when we look at the way somebody says something and we go back and we we repeat literally what they said, but everybody hears something different.
Mhm.
And the reason
Problem with language.
right. And so, but what I have concluded in all of this is that the only thing that matters is the spirit of anything. But we can't touch it, we can't define it, we only know it. Oh, it's like we connect. Hey, I got the flavor as opposed to, I got the flavor of what you meant and I can reflect back to you that I accepted the spirit of your message. So that's sort of my little piece moral of the day, I guess, is that the only thing that really matters is what's in between, is spirit. Even the space between the notes. The space between the notes is what really writes the song. Okay, so we will close for now. And as always, all our love and travel light.
Goodbye.